It's a Saturday night, and you and your sweetheart decide to take a trip on an isolated stretch of road, hoping to get some alone time. When you pull to the side of the road, nothing seems to be out of the ordinary, yet you can't help but feel that you're being watched. Then, out of nowhere, you see someone approaching your car. As you quickly get your act together to prevent any awkward interactions, you realize the man approaching you is carrying an axe. Suddenly, your fight or flight kicks in, and you choose flight. Putting the car into drive, you swerve off to the side of the road, nearly dodging the assailant. Yet you look over to your passenger window, and to your horror, you realize that wasn't a man at all. No. The creature you just encountered had the body of a man, with the head of a goat. Yes, the Goatman is a terrifying folktale, mostly talked about in the southern US, but thankfully that's all it is, a folktale. After all, the idea of such a beast wouldn't even stump the most clueless of people, yet there have been a few cases of just that. One version of the Goatman comes from Beltsville, Maryland. The story is told differently depending on the person, with some opting out the goat part and making the specter a lonely farmer whose flock of goats were killed by teenagers. But other tales paint the monster in a more science fiction tragedy. According to legend, a scientist working at the Beltsville Architectural Research Center was working on an experiment when something went horribly wrong, transforming him into a part man, part goat creature. He went mad and went into the woods, haunting the roads and woodlands of Beltsville, armed with a rusty axe. Now, those are just stories. Yet in 1971, a German shepherd named Ginger was decapitated by an unknown assailant. Though the reporter of the incident, Ivan Goldberg of the Washington Post, claimed that the dog was killed by a train, locals around Beltsville pointed their finger at the Goatman. This has been the only real-life occurrence where the Goatman of Beltsville was suggested to be real. Other than that, it's merely a story. The Pope Lick monster, on the other hand, has a more sinister history. Just like the Beltsville Goatman, the Pope Lick monster of Louisville, Kentucky is described as a hybrid monster wielding an axe. But what separates it from its northern cousin is its ability to hypnotize people into wandering the trestle where it lives. There, those who are hypnotized will meet their end by an oncoming train. Something like this is clearly fictional though, right? Sadly, no. On April 23, 2016, a woman was killed by a train while searching for the monster. Her boyfriend managed to survive by hanging onto the side of the trestle. On May 26, 2019, another person was killed by a train, this time a teenage girl, while another girl was taken to the hospital. But why are there so many deaths? Could it be that the legends are true? Is the Goatman really luring people to their deaths? No. It's because there's a misconception surrounding the Pope Lick Creek trestle, that it's abandoned, making it a prime target for legend trippers. But it's not. It's still very active. So please, if you decide to go hunting for monsters, don't go snooping around anywhere that can get you killed. Let's head to a more safer location to hunt down the Goatman, like the Goatman's Bridge in Denton and Cooper County, Texas. Its real name is Old Alton Bridge, and it was constructed in 1884 for the purposes of carrying horses and cars over Hickory Creek. Sadly, this legend isn't peachy either. According to the locals, the Goatman was an African-American goat farmer named Oscar Washburn, who moved to the now abandoned town of Alton with his family to make a living for himself in 1938. The locals didn't take fondly of a black man in their community, so the Ku Klux Klan lynched him from the bridge. But when they looked down to see what they've done, Washburn had disappeared. Horrified, the Klan made their way to Washburn's farm to slaughter his wife and kids. Now, if you cross the bridge with your car's headlights on, Washburn will appear, but not as a man, but as the Goatman. Now, there's no evidence to back up if this story is real. The lynching part, not the man coming back as a goat part. So this might just be a story. But then again, would it shock you if it wasn't? Let's end this video on a lighter note, shall we? We don't have to go far, only a 4-hour drive from the Goatman's Bridge to Lake Wharf, where people have reported seeing a Goatman since July of 1969. Yep, Not legends or folktales, but actual sightings reported in newspapers. Incidents range from simple sightings to the monster throwing tires at people. What separates this Goatman from the other three are two things. One, it's described as having scales, making it a Goatman lizard. And the second, a photograph, allegedly taken by Alan Plaster. Sightings ceased when school years started, leading many to assume that the monster was just a childish prank. The Fort Worth Telegram and the Fort Worth Texas Magazine both claim to have received anonymous letters by people claiming to have participated in the hoaxing. So those are just 4 examples of Goatman stories shared in the US. They aren't just tales to scare teenagers away from lovers' lanes, but warnings for dangerous areas, reminders of a grim past, or something to pass the time during a boring summer. But seriously, don't kill yourself looking for cryptids. This has been Cryptid Quest.